It's Friday.
Yes, it is.
Yep, and the new guy is suddenly very chatty about sexual misconduct. Tweeting the Al Franken picture is really bad. Notice he misspelled Frankenstein. Frankenstein. Speaks 1,000 words. Where do his hands go in pictures 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 while she sleeps? Yeah. Now, it's, you know, you're probably not the best person to be commenting on this right now, sir. I'm just saying, because, you know, you've not said anything about Mr. Moore. You haven't said anything about your own allegations. Maybe you just want to sit this one out.
Yeah.
Because now, does he have to address Mr. Moore now?
We have to be intellectually honest in who we are talking about at this moment, especially as the President of the United States, especially as Republicans right now. This Roy Moore stuff just seems to be getting worse and worse and worse. We're talking about pedophilia. And I saw a press conference yesterday when he was walking by, and he's had ample opportunity to talk about Roy Moore, and he's still not doing it. So to come out on Twitter.
Why not?
Because it's not politically expedient.
Because it's partisan, and that's the thing. Everything right now is partisan. But the thing about morality is you can't pick and choose morality.
Yep.
And I think, you know, for the Democrats that are calling for Roy Moore to step aside, and you have to also, you know, look yourself in the mirror. Republicans are calling for Al Franken to step down. It has to be vice versa, because you can't pick morality.
Not the same thing.
They're not necessarily sexual assault. She claims she was assaulted by him.
Well, but so here's the question. She said, this is what happened. Al says, you know what? You're absolutely right. I look at this, I see, it turns my stomach. You're absolutely right. I understand everything, and I apologize, and I welcome anybody to come see me ethically. So now, if she says, listen, do you accept the apology? She said, yes, I do. I think he was being honest, and I'm good with it. So if she's accepted it, why can't we go with her? Because we've gone with her when she said, hey, this is really bad. So he came out and said, hey, you're right, this is really bad. So she has said, I accept this apology.
I saw both.
So an apology changes everything.
I think it's actually dangerous to consider all these cases the same. We've always said that on one side of the spectrum is a pretty extreme case of Harvey Weinstein. I also think when you talk about Kevin Spacey or Roy Moore, when you're getting into children, that should not be part. I mean, on that part, we should be all speaking against it. I don't look at it as a Republican or a Democrat. I look at it in that moment as these are kids. Consent, or like these are not kids that can give you consent. Like, this is awful.
Neither Louis C.K. nor Al Franken, Senator Franken, has denied it. They both said that's true, and they apologized. I believe C.K. did also.
He did. He felt
whereas Moore and Trump, not only do they deny it, they say that these women are liars. There is a difference in the way these two camps are dealing with it. I think that's an important point to consider. Do you not agree?
No, I think that affects, and I think each person, when you're looking at, whereas for me personally, when I look at a Roy Moore being in the Senate with the continued allegations, and enough of it making sense for me because I encourage anyone to read into these things and make their decision, because this isn't a court of law in this instance. This is how much you can sit with for someone in Senate. So to me, whereas I could still be okay with Al Franken, not just because he apologized, but hearing her speak and hearing I'm gauging it by the particulars.
There's a lot of Democrats calling for him to step down. Bakari Sellers, Michelle Goldberg. If you can believe it, I don't just watch Fox. There were a lot of Democrats last night on CNN and MSNBC saying this will ultimately be
central.
I just think
what's interesting about that?
That's so cheap. I'm trying to talk about the fact that I'm watching other networks and people in your party are calling for the stepping down of Al Franken because of this investigation being a distraction.
Well, what about it?
What? No, I was going in a totally different direction. I was just going to say, well, shoot. I
was responding to Joy. It's fine. I just don't think that saying Fox is I know. I used to work there. We're talking about the present. This is what's exhausting about this conversation is that I totally agree with you that I think it is absolutely disgusting at this point that we're still having conversations about Roy Moore. We've talked about it on the show. He should step down. There's no way this man ever should have been in a position to become senator to begin with. But right now we're talking about another senator who has allegations.
We're also talking about hypocrisy, which is what provoked my outburst.
And situational morality, too.
That's what we're talking about. Trump's hypocrisy, Fox's hypocrisy, Breitbart, what's his name? Sean, what's his face?
Hannity.
Hannity.
Well, my only point I was making is it doesn't really matter what
about the
affiliation.
hypocrisy of Bill Clinton right now?
The only thing I was going to say is, for me personally, whether Al Franken was Republican or Democrat, I'm looking at each case, and it's not partisan for me. It's some of these cases I can't sit with knowing as a voter I would vote for them. And other cases, I'm looking at this specific one, and I do have a different look. I think you can't make them all black and white, because some of these,
I agree with you.
No, I'm not talking politicians. I'm really thinking you cannot put all these people in the Harvey Weinstein basket.
No, but why bring up Bill Clinton at this point?
Well,
Because first of all,
before we do anything, we're going, and we'll come right back.
All right.
Democratic senator.
She's making the sexual harassment claims that could shatter Democratic Senator Al Franken's career.
I was violated. I just felt like, he betrayed my trust.
News anchor Leanne Tweeden is live on The View next. Well, that could be a little dicey, but politics at the Hot Topics table.
No.
Now we're cooking. Plus, Kiefer Sutherland and Justin Hartley get their view on. Anna Navarro hits the co-host chair. Garth Brooks performs live. And Rocco DeSpirito's serving up tasty treats. It's Thanksgiving week on The View. Oh yeah, you're going to want to thank us for this. Can Bob Saget break a Guinness World Record live on The View? Find out later.
Allegations of sexual misconduct have proved to be a bipartisan problem yesterday after news anchor and model Leanne Tweeden accused Democratic Senator Al Franken of making an unwanted sexual advance towards her on a USO tour back in 2006 and taking this lewd photo while she was asleep. She's joining us now to share her story. Leanne Tweeden, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
You and I are old friends. I've known you a long time, and I'm really happy you came here to speak today. It really does mean a lot. For the people at home who maybe don't know your story, would you mind sharing it?
Well, I went on a tour in 2006. It was actually my 9th USO tour, 8 to the Middle East since the attacks on 9/11. And, it means a lot to me. My dad served in Vietnam, and my then boyfriend and still my husband now still serves in the United States Air Force. He's a pilot. And so it's just something close to my heart. It is a really special thing. I never wore the uniform, so it's my way of giving back. And it was a holiday tour, and in 2006, I don't sing and dance. That's what a lot of people think of USO tours. You sing and dance, like Bob Hope days. I'm a sportscaster. I'm a TV host. So I MC the shows, So when a lot of people go, we had a lot of country singers go with us. We had the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders go, and they danced to some of the songs. So I MC the shows. Well, Al Franken went with us on this particular trip, and he's a writer, an actor, and a comedian, so he sort of co-emceed the shows, too. And he had written some scripts for himself, and he brought some props and stuff from the guys at SNL, his old friends, and he would do some skits in between. But when I first met him, I'd never met him before I went on this trip. And he said, hey, I found out who you were, and I've written a script. If you want to, do a script with me, do a little skit at the beginning of the show. I thought, okay, that could be fun. It could be, we'll do something for the troops. It'd be a little fun. So he wrote the script, and it was very tongue-in-cheek. It was very, it was full of sexual innuendos and all of that. But it was fun because, let's face it, a lot of our military is very young, early 20s, young males. So it was going to be very funny. And I didn't get the script until a couple days before our first show. I was reading through it, and I'm like, okay, it's very tongue-in-cheek. And there's a kissing scene. And I didn't think anything of it, right? I'm like, we're not really going to kiss. It's just a funny thing. And so right before our first show in Kuwait, that's where we started before we went further into Iraq and Afghanistan, he said, we really need to rehearse the scene, the kissing scene. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And I just sort of ignored him. And we were backstage, and it was just the two of us because we were getting ready to go on in about 10 or 15 minutes. And he said, no, we really need to rehearse the kissing scene. I'm like, why? I mean, it's not SNL. We're not doing a movie, dude. We don't really need to do that. And he's like, no, we need to rehearse. Actors have to rehearse their scenes, I'm like, okay, you go right, I'll go right, so it's not awkward, trying to be funny. And, he's like, we really need to rehearse. And it was that girl that was mic'd up for the NYPD for Harvey Weinstein, that one audio that we heard, and it was that the persistence and just, you know, that kind of relentlessness. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, we'll rehearse the damn scene, right? We read through the lines and he just sort of comes at me. And I'm thinking, in my mind, when that scene came, when we were going to do it, I would do the old Bob Hope thing, you know, the older guy and the young girl. I would just sort of turn my head, or I'd cover his mouth and just sort of do something funny that would get a laugh from the crowd, right? And he just sort of comes at me and he puts his hand behind my head and he comes in, and it happens so fast, you know, he just comes in and he mashes his mouth against my mouth and sticks his tongue in my mouth. And I was so shocked because, of course, I was not expecting that at all, right? I'm thinking that was the last thing I was expecting. And I pushed him away from me, and I'm like, if you ever do that to me again, you know, what are you doing? And my hand, and I remember to this day, and I even have this reaction when I see him on a TV. I like, my hand clenches into a fist because I wanted to punch him. That was the first thing. That was just my
What did he say when you said, if you ever do that to me again? What did he say?
Oh, he just kind of, like, just try to play it off. You know, it was just kind of like, oh, well, I mean, you know, I think that's the mentality of these people. You know, he was just playing it off like that was just kind of part of what the script was going to be. And like, haha, you know, they just test the waters.
So clearly, I mean, you felt very violated, and you told him not to do that again. But then you get home from the tour and you get a disc of all the photos, and in that disc is that photo of him appearing to grab your breasts.
Yeah.
Did you think that he was just trying to be funny? What did you think of when you saw that photo?
I don't think there's anything funny about that photo, but when I saw it, I mean, there's a whole other thing. I mean, that was the beginning of the trip that happened, and then there were little petty things that happened for the next 2 weeks. And then it ended with that photo that I didn't see until I got home. I mean, I was, you know, I was angry. I felt belittled.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing.
Well, let me ask you about the other people in the photo. There's a photographer in the room. There were other people sitting there.
Right. Well, the guy next to me, Mark Wills, is a country singer. You can see half of him. He was asleep as well.
He was sleeping. And the photographer wasn't.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Obviously, he was
and there were probably other people on the plane. Obviously I was asleep, so I don't even know who else was.
But aren't you angry with them also for letting this happen?
Yeah, sure. But, you know, let's talk about that. That's part of the culture that we're trying to change, right? Because we're trying to change a culture. We're in the workplace. We talk about that. People see harassment all the time at work, right? And nobody says anything. What about the Harvey Weinstein? What about the damn lawyer that writes up those contracts that says, okay, you can abuse people, but you pay them off. You send us a little money to the company, and we'll just let that go. And people see it all the time, and nobody says anything.
No, and also, didn't they use that?
Complicit.
No, didn't they use that photo as a publicity photo or something? That photo just died that day. That stayed where it was.
Yeah, a publicity photo.
I thought I heard something about how that went out there. I didn't.
Oh, I don't think so.
Well, it sounds like the photo being on the heels of this trip, considering all the other things that happened, it feels worse looking at it. Like if it was a standalone, it would. Not that I'm saying it would be innocent, but you feel worse looking at that picture, hearing all of the build up to it.
Oh, of course, because during the trip, like I said, you know, after that happened, then I had to spend 2 weeks with him. Right.
Oh, yeah.
I made sure I was never alone with him again. I was so angry. I didn't talk to him voluntarily for the whole trip. And, you know, I had to deal with little petty things. We'd be sat next to each other. We'd have autograph lines. After you do a USO tour, you do the tour on stage. You do your shtick on stage. And after 3 hours on stage, troops can come and get autographs from you. And they stand in line. And we have little autograph sheets. And, you know, if I'm sat next to him, I would always sort of put my back to him because I just couldn't take it, right? I would sign for the troops, we'd take pictures, and I would see, you know, like little things move like this and go back. And one day I looked down, and my headshot, I looked down, and he drew devil horns on me with the goatee and the devil tail and the pitchfork. And
what do you make of that?
Because
I'm like, so I'm the devil now?
It was because you had pushed him away.
Make of it what you will.
Leanne,
what do you think? I mean, it's like these little petty things. It's like that passive-aggressive thing that I would deal with. Little comments in the back of the bus that I'd hear, and I'm like, okay.
He says he doesn't remember the skit the same way you do, but he has apologized. How do you feel about that?
He apologized twice.
Yeah.
Yes, he did have to do it twice.
Yeah, the first one I thought was a little, and you know, when I talked about it on my radio show back home on KBC, McIntyre in the Morning, hi guys, you know, they're nice enough to let me come here today. I thought the first one was really quick, and it sounded like a staffer, but I was like, okay. They responded to it. We reached out to them for comment. And then I think they got a lot of pushback. You know, it's like, okay, that's all you have to say, Mr. Franken, you know, from his office?
You've accepted his apology.
Oh, of course, the second one. Yes, I accepted the first one, of course. I wasn't calling for his resignation. I wasn't calling for his career to end. I didn't want any of that. I just wanted to shine the light and stand on the shoulders of these other women to go, this is not right. This is not what should be happening in our society. I have 2 young children. I have a boy and a girl. I don't want this to happen for them and for this upcoming generation to have to deal with that.
He's also written to you personally, is that correct?
He has. And I just got it as I was in the dressing room backstage. And he reached out to me. He'd like to talk to me personally. Obviously, I haven't had time.
But you will speak to him personally.
I will.
Yeah.
I will.
Leanne, we're going to take a quick break, but we want to come back to this right now. I'm so happy you're here, and then we're going to talk about your work with veterans, too. We'll be right back.
Best-selling book, the buzzed about movie, and now the real-life Wonder Boy.
I know everyone looks different, except I look a lot more different than everyone else.
One family shares their heart-wrenching journey and a surprise that you'll cheer through tears on a 2020 special event, Wonder Boy, tonight on ABC.
But not like upset.
Yeah. Right before the break, you said, Leanne, that you just received a handwritten letter from Al Franken. Would you mind reading it with us?
Sure. It says, it's on letterhead from Al. It says, Dear Leanne, I want to apologize to you personally. I don't know what was in my head when I took that picture, but that doesn't matter. There's no excuse, and I understand why you could feel violated by that photo. I remember that rehearsal differently, but what's important is that the impact it had on you, and you felt violated by my actions, and for that I apologize. I have tremendous respect for your work for the USO, and I am ashamed that my actions ruined that experience for you. I am so sorry. Sincerely, Al Franken.
Good letter.
Yeah, it's great.
I mean, it's one of the, I remembered what I was going to say. You know, people are calling for his, to step down and to do all these kind of things. And I wonder if you could address, because it was a question I asked the table. If you've accepted that he has seen that he did something really horrendous and made this horrible mistake, and you look at his work from that point on, point forward, and you've accepted it, do you think people should back you up and accept his apology as well?
You know, I think people make their own decisions, right? I think the people of Minnesota can make that decision. I'm not calling for him to step down. I mean
more like the Twitter sphere.
Oh, come on.
Look,
that whole since yesterday, I have not even looked at Twitter because there are trolls out there. I've heard things. It's like, you can't, right? I mean, there are already people that are like, oh, it's your fault. You're a model beforehand. You were asking for it. I'm like, okay, I can't.
People always say things like that. You have to ignore that.
Exactly. So I'm not even looking. But, you know, I think he's done some great work. And, you know, this is not about donkeys and elephants. This is about right and wrong. Right? This is about when you don't want somebody to put their hands on you. No is no. Yes. When it's not wanted. This is not about, like, you know, somebody, you know, I don't want men to be afraid to try to talk to women in a bar, because this is not what we're talking about. This is about forcibly pushing yourself on someone when they don't want you to.
They've indicated that they don't want you to.
It's about intent and consensual. That's what it's about. So people have to understand that. You felt threatened. Maybe he didn't think he was, but you did.
Very uncomfortable. And you know, yes, these are totally different situations. But as far as that goes, you know, he has fessed up to it and he apologized. And I sincerely think that he really, I think he took in and realized, man, that he looks at it now and says, I'm disgusted by my actions. And never, it's never funny. I mean, that is never funny.
Do you think his actions were isolated, though? He was so brazen to kiss you and, like you said, stick his tongue in your mouth. Do you think that that's isolated? Would you be surprised if there aren't others? Because it seems like there have been others.
Well, there's more speculation because President Trump actually tweeted, and there's a little speculation in this. I know you're not checking Twitter right now, but it says the Al Frankenstein picture is really bad, speaks 1,000 words. Where do his hands go in pictures 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 while she sleeps? What do you think of that tweet? Like, does it...
Let's talk about Trump's...
Well, first of all...
Accusers.
Does it offer any comfort? Is it something...
First of all, can I just say this whole last 24 hours of my life have been overwhelming and surreal. Okay, and then to have the president of the United States tweeting about you in this picture is just, I almost don't even know what to say. Yeah. And his issues, that's a whole other thing. I mean, that's just, I mean, he has room to speak.
Here's what you should know. He has 16 accusers.
Right.
Sarah, what's her name, Sanders, and Trump have said that they are all lying.
Well, we have to wrap, actually, on that note. But I do want to say, Leanne, you and I know each other through veterans advocacy work. You are one of the strongest, biggest supporters I've ever met in my life towards our vets. Multiple deployments. You spent Afghanistan, Thanksgiving in Afghanistan with our vets. We met through the Achilles Hope and Possibility Race. Incredible organization for wounded vets. People should know that about you, too. Thank you so much for sharing your story today. Here we are. All right, we'll be right back.
Would winning $5 grand make it an even happier holiday? Find out how to get in on the View's Holiday Cash Sweepstakes next.
Sweepstakes. Yay! There was supposed to be music. Viewers at home, listen up. We are blowing up someone's holiday budget by giving away $5,000. Eastern Monday to find out how to enter for the chance to win, and tune in on Tuesday to see if you're $5 grand richer.
Yay! So, and this weekend, something wonderful is happening. I think it's on HBO. It's called Night of Too Many Stars, America Unites for Autism. It's a special which airs, as I said, live on HBO Saturday, November 18th. Acts include comedy superstars John Oliver, Chris Rock, Stephen Colbert, Billy Crystal, all kinds of folks, Bob Danette. Just check it out. You'll be the better for it. And I want to say congratulations because Audible turned 20 yesterday. It's kind of wonderful. It's where I get all my audiobooks. And they turned 20 years old, and I got to go, and I was so pleased to be able to spend some time with them. So congrats, you guys. Yeah. So you also may want to think twice about holiday shopping with your children after you see this, because the mom took her child to Sephora, and reportedly the kid went on a hand-finger rampage, destroying about $1,300 worth of makeup. And the makeup artist posted a picture of the carnage, advising parents to, quote, shop for your makeup without your tiny children. Now, some people say, oh, that's mom shaming. Or does she have a point? Or should the mom, kind of rein in a little finger? Because little fingers move fast. You know, they're like...
You got to use it as a teaching moment, because it's impossible to say you can't go shopping with your kids. You just, I know I'm never going to take my kids to a home decor store after, Landon picked up the vase and I was over looking at something. He goes, Mommy, look at this vase. And I'm like, put it back down, because if you break, you buy. And I think for this mom, I think they hurried out of the store, but you got to use it as a teaching moment.
Why don't they raise the counter a little? Because people, that's too low. Maybe the kids, it's too exciting for the children.
But you got to rein your kids in.
They see all that stuff, they want to touch it.
They do.
Say don't touch.
Yeah. Well, it's not that easy.
Oh, yeah, no,
and a lot of people don't have the luxury of leaving your children at home. It is a luxury.
You want to buy a lipstick, but you have to get a babysitter.
Well, I mean, you have to take them. I think the big thing is that you own. You own up, because one of the things is this mom hustled out. I think what you do have to take accountability. Your child ruined something. This is someone else's property.
The store kids are going to have to pay for that. The people who are working in the store.
That's why raise the counter so you don't have to.
But it doesn't really help if you're short.
Yeah.
How many people are the size of Dr. Ruth?
Carly. The producer, Carly, is
quite a few.
I will say that there just seemed to be a different perspective on parenting now. My parents, I come from a really hardcore military family. If I had spent $1,300 on a mess in Sephora, my parents would have kicked my rear end, made me pay for it. It would have been, even if I was 4, all hell to pay. So I do think there
Get out there and build those
Get a job.
Get a job. You're 4.
Every weekend for a shift. There you go.
Everybody likes that. I had to build dams growing up in the creek, which is true. But I just think there's this perspective that, they're just kids. They're going to get away with it. No. That's unacceptable.
Because, my mother could take me anywhere. She'd say, sit down, and I sat down.
Yeah.
There didn't have to be a couch there. She said, sit down. I found a place to sit. You got to tell your kids that you can't touch everything.
They think it's finger paints. They really like art class.
Yeah. Well, $1,300 worth of finger paint.
That's the markup.
That's the price, whether it's the markup or not.
That's what I'm thinking. That makeup was really expensive.
No.
Yeah.
Did you see the amount of what this child did? This was a whole lot of stuff that was destroyed. It wasn't just one or two. It was a lot of
Massive
stuff.
palette.
You know, and Mom,
massive palette.
Pick it up, baby. You should have been checking the kids. Check your children. Because somebody could have walked off with them. You don't know. We'll be back.
I'm excited to be here. You already know I'm the only TV father left you can trust. You know I got engaged to John Stamos. Man, is he hot. And also, I'm here to break the Guinness Book of World Records with this. That's right, sticky notes.
Monday, designated Survivor star Kiefer Sutherland. And Lori Grenier has killer deals on her favorite catches from Shark Tank on a special edition of View Your Deal.
Saget is one of the funniest and most versatile performers in all of show business. And I swear he didn't tell me to say that. I swear. He has a stand-up special. It's called 0 to 60, and we love him here. Please welcome the very funny, what's his name again? Bob Saget.
It's not that exciting.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
So look at what's going on now with comedy.
It's
politics.
crazy.
It's all merging into one thing. It's kind of weird, isn't it?
It is weird. It's a world of celebrity and pain and people being hurt. And I'm here to try to put some lather on the pain in the shower by myself.
That's the place to
be. Safest place to be. I did a new special. I'm performing, and I'm just trying to put some love out there. And it's a little bit irreverent sometimes. My new special. My stand-up has always been, as you know.
Words are allowed. It's not words we're talking about.
But words that hurt are the problem.
Of course.
And that's something you've never said on here.
Yeah. You just said you're trying to put some love out there.
Yeah.
Speaking of love.
Yes, I'm in love with you.
No. No, you shouldn't say that because you just got engaged.
Stamos.
No, you just got engaged to your girlfriend.
I got engaged.
Kelly Rizzo.
Very personal.
Okay, yes.
Very personal, so let's tell everyone. But it was Stamos and I got engaged around the same time, and we were our first choices, but he said no. But it's really, it's a personal thing, but I'll share it with you guys, because there's so much stuff going on. Why not share a love story?
I love it.
A nice thing. So, please don't applaud that long. I don't have enough time. But she's a wonderful, brilliant person that I was lucky enough to meet. And we were up in Big Sur, and I wanted to propose, and I hid the ring in the safe. And we were watching Stranger Things on the iPad. I already talked it over. Well, that's what you do when you
really set the mood,
didn't
you? I mean, come on.
I don't want to, no spoiler alert about the show. But and I'd already talked to my daughters about it, and they're like, please do this. We love her, and it's very, very nice. And her family's wonderful. And that's a nice experience. And sorry, too personal. And then, but then I went to the restroom because you need to know that at noon on the end of this 4-day time together of just bonding. Got the ring, got on one knee because there was a flag in the room.
Were you able to get up
that's
after?
That's a political joke I shouldn't have done. And
you know what I said?
I'm sorry.
When you got on one knee, were you able to get up?
Well,
and now
you and well, no, because when you go and propose, you have to make phone calls afterward. Right after the phone calls, maybe.
No, what I'm alluding to is that there's a 20-year difference between the two. More than that.
Yes. Well, in L.A., don't woo. In L.A., legally, it's half your age plus 7. So we've done that. We've accomplished that. But what happened was I proposed, but I wanted to say it different than till death do us part. I want to be with you the rest of my life. So I said it maybe awkwardly. I said, I would like to be with you for whatever days I have left.
That's really special.
That's the age. That would be the age issue.
Yeah.
We do want to say that your fiance, your beautiful
He's right here.
She's
Kelly
ironically
Rizzo.
right there. There she
Was he
is.
nervous? Was he nervous? Yeah. He was nervous?
He was a bit. I was just shocked he had the audacity to pause Stranger Things. I was like, how dare you?
It's true.
That means
But I
really
forgave
like
him.
you.
But
Yeah,
we haven't
forgave
finished
him.
watching it either.
No, we still have that.
What is she going to expect when you push play?
I know. Right?
I think
How
I'll
do you
just
follow that?
Yeah, I think we're going right into honeymoon mode. I don't care at that point.
Congratulations to both.
And you have a big comedy special on demand right now called 0 to 60.
And it's really cool because...
Are you doing political humor or what?
Little touches here and there because you can't avoid it, but I wanted it to be evergreen so it could run during Christmas. What? But it's on iTunes. It opened in a different way than any special has because normally you go your Netflix, your HBO, whatever. Yeah. But this one went to iTunes and it went to Amazon, which is good because with 2 clicks you can get my special and the lotion to watch it with. Hello. Well, you can buy things on Amazon. No, they're getting it now. But the thing is, it's available on every digital. I'm almost done.
Why are you blushing?
I'm almost done plugging. I'm very
You
ready.
said yes.
Change her mind
You
today.
said yes.
Yeah, I know. She's just going, what have I done?
You might want to get the marriage going because...
Yeah, we're going to register for Tapas now. But it's on every digital platform, like every one of them, like all over the world. So it dropped at the same time, like my...
Don't go there.
Yeah, okay. Your blood pressure. You're welcome. I'm going to take it from here. We had so much fun with Jason Ritter when he broke the Guinness World Record for most hugs on our show a couple of weeks ago.
Right, it should have been me. I was Danny Tanner.
Well,
I mean,
But today, you're going to attempt to break a Guinness World Record of your own. Tell us which one.
Well, it's the most sticky notes you can put to your face. And when I was asked by your producer to do it, I said, heck, yeah, that'll be flattering and wonderful. So,
It's good to see that she's marrying a mature guy.
Yeah.
Right. I should have notes
Maybe
on it.
they're closer in age than we realized. Okay.
She's older than me.
We have an official Guinness adjudicator in the audience today, right here. Michael Imprint. Oh, my God. We have an adjudicator. Don't cut into the record, guys. Come on.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
He's going to be doing the official count as Bob attempts the Guinness World Records title for most sticky notes stuck on the face in 1 minute.
Yeah.
Oh, I lost sticky notes.
Wait, Michael, what are the...
Joy, you're hurting
Don't
my...
touch the props.
You don't want those.
What are the ground rules?
Here's what I'm looking for.
Paula.
Face only, Bob. No eyes, ears, or hair. Only your
told
face.
that by many people over the
no
years.
overlap. And 10 seconds. At the end of the minute, they have to stay on the face for 10 seconds.
Can he leave his glasses?
Oh, I got the mirror. I got everything.
Can he put it on his
Let me
glasses?
show you how John Stamos wakes up in the morning. Okay, so...
Okay.
The mark to
glasses-
beat
glasses-
60.
Okay.
60 in 1 minute.
And my special's 0 to 60, so
Okay,
it's
so
perfect.
this is going to work out nicely. Are you ready, Bob?
No.
Come on, Bob, you're ready.
I gotta
Do
take
it.
the
You can
glasses
do it.
off.
Come on. Okay.
Okay, here we go.
3, 2, 1, go.
Doing great. You got some open space on this side. Up here.
30
Right there.
seconds remaining. 30 seconds.
I do this at home. This is not going to happen.
They're falling off.
You guys.
20 seconds left.
Somebody take a memo.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 10 seconds, Bob. 10 seconds.
You gotta hold for 10 seconds.
Oh, no, that's not even close.
5,
We're gonna hold all 5 of those notes.
4, 3, 2, 1. You're good, Bob.
Not good. We knew this wasn't going to work.
Not even close.
I like it, though. It was really fun to watch.
It was?
He's
Thank
even
you.
more attractive, isn't he, Kelly?
I've been dropping all day.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
This
6,
is
7, 8, 9, 10.
When we come
12.
back, we're going to see
12.
if Bob broke the Guinness World Record. Stay tuned.
Here's the story of Greek.
And we are back. Let's see if Bob Saget broke the Guinness World Record. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The most sticky notes stuck in this face. So in 1 minute, Michael.
How did he do, Michael?
The mark to beat was 60. Bob had
12.
12.
I counted.
Unfortunately, not a Guinness World Record.
Oh,
the mark to beat, I actually saw it, and she practiced it before, and she looked like a lion.
Did you count the one he ate? Does that count?
Absolutely.
I actually did digest it, so I'll be seeing it
But
later.
they were falling off of his face. No, why not count the ones that were on there?
His whole jaw was.
It's very hard for me not to talk. I know you did it, so I would stop talking.
You should have come on. You should have floured your face first to make it dry.
You're very smart. Or just put like
super glue.
Super glue, new skin,
It's
something like
available
that.
on demand everywhere, including on iTunes and Amazon. And the Guinness World Records 2018 book is available in stores right now and online. We want you to have a great day and take a little time to enjoy the view. You were saying?
When it comes to finding